Okay. I think we're good to go. As I said, thank you very much for joining today for the DREAM project final event. It's been a wonderful project for the past 2 years, and today we will be presenting you the results. I guess we're good on the technical side, and I would like to give right now the word to Karine, part of the lead partner of this project.
Yes, thank you very much, Alexandra. So my name is Karine Ratineau. I'm head of unit for territorial promotion within Paris CDG Alliance. We are leader of this DREAM consortium and in charge of the implementation of a DREAM project. So first of all, we are very happy to share with you the agenda of this webinar. We will start with an introduction by our project coordinator, Marc Demont, so that he can share with you the focal points about the presentation of the project, the consortium which was built for this project. Then second part of the presentation would be about the employment in airport areas and the DREAM project results outcome. Based upon the regional employment in airport areas, but also presenting you the best practice guide, which is the outcome of a project. The third part would be a focus on some specific best practices, providing you concrete examples with the speech from some of our consortium partners for the prospective vision, but also training and then employment. And then, even if it's not part of the project, it was very important to discuss about the impact of COVID-19 on training and employment in airport areas. So we have planned having small roundtables in order to discuss these issues, and then the topic will be discussed, will be put on the table. And finally, we will have general questions and answers. In case you have any question based upon what was presented, we can gladly answer your questions. And then there would be the final conclusion. So that's just the general agenda so that you can be ready and we can start. So then I will just let the floor to Marc Demont as project coordinator of this DREAM project on Paris CDG Alliance.
Thank you, Karine. Thank you, Alexandra. Hello, everyone. I'm very, very proud to introduce you to this seminar. We are different partners working on this project, and we are very proud to present you our best practices. So just to introduce you this project called DREAM for development of regional employment on airport areas Manpower. We decided a few years ago to work together on a challenge we face is all, not for the same reason, but we all have difficulties in attractiveness of new employees in our airport areas. And then we had difficulties to explain it with our local partners and with partners in our country, because we think that we have a specific challenge in airport area, and we decided to exchange or to discuss with different European partners on a long-lasting strategic partnership, just to be able to understand the different airport areas, the different countries, and the different practices that have already been implemented by the different European partners. So we focus on employment issues, on vocational and education training in airport areas. We focus on how we work with the different companies in airport areas and how we work with local partners to find new employees, to how we share information about the different studies we made on the evolution of the jobs in airport area, on the new training facilities, employment opportunities, especially on how we work with the surrounding communities of airport areas to help them access to the jobs opportunities. And finally, the last part of this project was to provide and to create a good practice guide and new policy recommendation for the European Union in order to develop or increase innovative solutions in airport areas all around Europe. So to attend this, these different challenges, we work with 8 project partners from different countries. I will present it to you later. During 24 months, so it will end in August 2020, and with a budget funded by the European Union with Erasmus Plus project, who help us to create and to participate to this project. Especially, it funded the different costs for traveling around Europe and visit the different airport areas, and that help us to understand how it works. For example, with Aviato, which is a partner from Brussels, who welcome us in the Brussels airport, and then with the regional carbon Frankfurt-Hahn, who welcome us in the airport of Frankfurt, with Orly Paris, which is an organization working on Paris Orly airport, with Wirtschaftsförderung Darm-Spreewald, which is the organization working on the new airports in Berlin, in the south of Berlin and the airport area around, with the Arrondissement del Prat de Llobregat, which is the municipality where the airport of Barcelona is established, with the municipality of Beek, where the airport of Maastricht in Netherlands is established, with ARC, which is organizing this webinar on the Airport Region Conference for European Union, and Paris CDG Alliance, already introduced by Karin. And so we decided to work with all these partners just to be able to have some information of the different airport areas. And so what we want to share with you today is the different results and the different knowledge we created by working together with all these partnerships. The best practices we saw, the best practices we already implement, so the different results we already have, in order to disseminate all those best practices and maybe find new way of dealing with this challenge today, but also with the new challenge we have in employment with this new crisis for airport areas. We really believe that long-term sustainable activities of the airport area needs a stronger partnership between the local communities and the airport areas, especially on the issue of employment. And that's what we really want to explain to you. And for that, we will first explain you what are the different airport areas and how we work on this, then the different practices we saw, and have a focus on some best practices, just to show you concretely and briefly, because we don't have a lot of time, what we already done and what we are working on. So I will let Alexandra present this first part, and then Melissa, I think, will present you the different practices.
Thank you very much, Mark. So hello everybody, hello again. My name is Alexandra. I am working for Airport Regions, which is the association of local and regional public authorities with an international airport on their territories. In this project, we are the communication partner. Indeed, airports and their associated activities highly contribute to local, regional, and national economies and generate jobs for the local communities they serve. In 2015 only, European airports were creating and facilitating more than 12 million jobs. Employment in airport areas has always been a source of growth, development, and economic impact. Especially right now with the COVID-19 pandemic, we were able to see more than ever to what extent the wider aviation ecosystem can impact the global economy. But in DREAAM project, we have analyzed the regional employment in 6 airport areas: Paris, Maastricht, Brussels, Barcelona, Berlin, and Frankfurt. In this analysis, 9 airports were included, ranging from hubs such as Paris Charles de Gaulle, with over 75 million passengers in 2019, to airports such as Maastricht, Aachen, with over 450,000 passengers in 2019. The 9 airports, including in the DREAAM analysis, serve in total over 1,000 municipalities, which are home to over 20 million inhabitants. The unemployment rate of these airport areas varies from 3.5% in Maastricht as of 2019 to 18% in Paris as of 2018. The main economic fields associated to these airports, airport areas are diverse. Of course, tourism is the common denominator, but it is followed by transport, aeronautics, aviation, automotive, automation, technology, industry, logistics, pharma, and retail. We have noticed, though, in DREAAM project, when carrying out this analysis, we have noticed a pattern in the main challenges encountered by these airport areas. And when it comes down to employment, we have selected, in my slide, I have included a couple of examples of the challenges that we spotted in our analysis. And we have seen that regions, that airport areas are confronted with demographic changes, such as the increasingly aging population, but also the need to enhance regional branding, as well as the growth of the airport platform in relation with the shortage of workforce. There is also a mismatch between supply and demand in the labor market. As well, we notice difficulties in retaining international and qualified professionals. And finally, we noticed that there is a need to find new mobility solutions that would help facilitate commuting between airports and urban areas. And by addressing these challenges, we have worked towards common goals, such as increasing the skills and capacities of local communities through tailored training, focusing especially on soft skills and linguistic skills. But also, we think that it is important to define a prospective vision by anticipating the employment needs and trends, as well as taking strategic steps to attract companies inside the platform area. And finally, it is very much important to reinforce communication, job promotion, and regional branding. And the main goal that we have noticed is to reduce the unemployment rate, and of course to support sustainable growth and development in airport areas. While there is no universal solution, we believe that DREAAM, the DREAAM project, especially through its best practice guide, can pave the way towards development of regional development in airport areas. And right now, I have just presented you the main ideas of what we have done in this DREAAM analysis. But to get the big picture, I do invite you to check the full best practice guide, which will be released soon. It's almost done, and we will share it with you when it will be available. And my colleague Melissa from Paris CDGs, she will go more in detail by presenting the actual best practices and what were our findings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alexandra. So my name is Melissa Cholet-Macouche, Project Manager for Paris CDG Alliance, and I will present you the best practices. So first of all, how airport areas is clear, have common challenges and goals. That's why we decided at the beginning of the project to focus the project on 4 topics that were deeply analyzed. So the first one was perception and promotion of jobs in airport areas, matching workforce qualification with the company requirements. Actually, on the one hand, it was clear for all of us that even if you have a low employment rate, having a clear vision of company needs, not only analyzing your job offer, but having a precise picture of their requirements is crucial. But it may also be difficult for companies to express which competencies they really need. And on the other hand, you also have an additional challenge, which is innovation in order to match workforce qualification with this requirement. So secondly, training and vocational educational training, because both are tools to facilitate this matching. And thirdly, anticipation of future work patterns. Indeed, our world is changing quickly, and so do the company needs. We must be ready for new jobs to emerge with new skills, and thus adapt training in order to be ready to match with the future company needs. That's the reason why we have to disseminate to our local partner a relevant vision of the future. And let's say that it's quite difficult to have a prospective vision. Last but not least, all these findings can also aim at the general attractiveness of airport areas, because they may pretend to be a place where people can have a full career. They can train themselves and aspire to senior position, for example. And in order to collect all these findings, we organize 6 transnational meetings. We visit each airport area from our consortium partners, and we had the chance to analyze on site how they innovate in these topics. And next slide, please. Thank you. So at the end of this transnational meeting, we collected all the best practices which were identified during the implementation of the project. And we summarize them in a short guide in order to disseminate the result of the project and help other airport areas as well as local communities to innovate in favor of employment. Next slide, thank you. These best practices can be split into 9 categories. These categories can be considered as main ideas you have to keep in mind if you want to innovate and implement tools about employment and airport areas manpower. And it's of course possible to transfer these best practices to other airport areas and local communities. And now I will present you shortly the 9 key advice you will find in the best practices guide. So the first one, find new governance model between public and private entities to develop workforce and to face social challenges. To put it in a nutshell, you have to gather all your public and private partners in order to have a better vision of your territory and your challenges, but also to innovate in all these topics. And for example, Aviato built an attractive and dynamic airport community, which is really unique in informing, inspiring, and connecting talent and organization. The second one, thank you. Observe and anticipate the future needs of the labor market. Let's say you have to predict the future as a medium. Fortunately, you don't need a superpower for that. An observatory of your territory can be a wonderful tool to share a prospective vision and to adapt your project, of course. For example, Paris CDG Alliance implemented an observatory compiling knowledge of the main economic characteristics of the territory. and the expected project to establish a diagnosis of the territorial training offer on the job offers and needs. Number 3, foster social inclusion inside airport areas labor market. A remaining part of the airport areas inhabitants cannot access to the labor market without any specific support. That's a fact. Public institutions, as well as companies which would like to integrate fair and social approaches of employment, can set up specific programs to make it easier for job seekers to join or rejoin the workforce. And for example, the company PWM and the two municipalities of Steen and Beek in Maastricht, in the Maastricht area, redesign tasks within the company to give more chance for people with labor limitation. And they call it inclusive job design. Number 4, enhance the employability of young people by developing the language on intercultural skills. Company experiment real difficulties in recruiting people to fill the vacant position. That's another fact. And it's crucial, the crucial identify lacking skill is linguistic competence, especially in English. And in order to increase the employability of young people, airport areas set up different kind of language programs. And for example, Envol Pro and CESA Aero are two programs that give the opportunity to job seekers from the Paris CDG airport area to do an internship in a company abroad for a period of 3 to 4 months. And it's really a good opportunity for them to increase their language skills. And this program is also funded by Erasmus+. Number 5, bring inside one place in the airport area all the resources to build one professional. By creating a single place to promote airport jobs and inform about their opportunities, job seekers, but also diverse stakeholders can have an easy access to information. And we know that sometimes it can be difficult to find the good information when you have numerous websites and structures which deal with the subject. And give you an example, to give more visibility of airport in Orly, for Orly airport job, which can be offered to unemployed people, Orly Paris create a special airport job center office. So you can do the same. And number 6, set up new ways of learning and training thanks to job simulation and collaborative work. So traditional teaching techniques are not always successful to capture the student attention. And whereas practical and digital approaches can stimulate their interest and upgrade their skills. So have in mind to use them. And for example, Fundació Inform in Barcelona will produce a simulated company to train job seekers in a real-life environment for educational purpose. And these good practices will be presented in detail a bit later. So number 7, create training program by focusing on special needs of the companies. So public and private sectors have to collaborate together in order to propose joint degrees that allow future workers to have the right certifications to work in specific industries. And this program concerns initially training, of course, but also vocational training. And for example, Vista College and train skilled professionals in a fast and effective manner and make them employable for a car manufacturer called VDL Netcar, and it's in Maastricht. Number 8, thank you. Promote and facilitate early career guidance. A few decades ago, a career in an airport area did not require any advertising, but it's not the case anymore. Nowadays, airport areas deal with migration of labor workforce and the general incapacity to attract the necessary volume of workforce. Thus, a new generation of people need to be inspired. And for example, really the German airport areas are really good at it. with annual events, etc. And we will present you it a little later with some details. And number 9, it's branding your airport area and its job offers, opportunities. So you have to communicate continuously and using all the communication channels to promote your airport area and its jobs opportunities. And in a highly competitive world, you must be imaginative, for example, while creating a brand and the use of social media. It can be relevant. And for example, the Frankfurt Main International Office oriented both new arrivals to the Frankfurt area, as well they are the first contact point for professionals looking for a career in the area. So thank you for your attention, and now I will let the floor to Inge.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Inge Vervloed. I'm the team leader of Aviato, which is the employment center at Brussels Airport. We are a cooperation between public and private partners. I'll give you some information about the research on employment at Brussels Airport. The results of the study were made public in 2019 and reflect the situation as of Q4 of 2017. I think something went wrong with these slides. Next slide. Next one. Okay, thank you. So why did we start this study? Brussels Airport is one of the engines of the Belgian economy, and one of the strategic objectives of Aviato is to be the knowledge center for data and information relating to work, training and mobility at and around the airports. Yes. Next one. We can see that the relationship between the airport and the Belgian economy is bilateral. So growth in aviation means also economic growth, and growth of the economy leads to growth in aviation. We also have to consider that the employment has several layers, as there are the direct employment and the indirect employment. For instance, the suppliers or the companies who come to the airport and are not really related to airport work as such. What is typical for employment at the airport is that the employees are spread over 317 companies that are concentrated in the relatively small area of the airports. What makes then the airport labor market unique is that it is a diverse composition in 3 clusters and 18 sectors. The first cluster we say is the actual aviation cluster, with jobs in air transport and airport handling. And they're accounting for a little bit more than 40% of the total number of employees at the airports. The second cluster is the airport-related activities. They support the first cluster. For instance, we have here the cargo handling and storage, postal services, security, and industrial cleaning. More than 50% of the total number of employees work at this cluster. Finally, we have the third cluster, the so-called business cluster. This is still a young cluster in which employment increased to 9.5% of the total number of employees in 2017. So yes, okay. So what did we do? Together with the research institute, which is specialized in work and society, we collected data about economy and employment. We analyzed the role of the airport as a dynamic community. We conducted a quantitative study on the labor markets, and together with the stakeholders, we agreed on the main challenges. What did we learn from the study? Some examples. We learned that employees come from all over Belgium. The biggest part, 74%, is from the Flemish region, but we also see there is a growing amount of people coming from Brussels and the Walloon region. As you can see on the next slide, we also determined that people are willing to commute further if they work in specialist jobs. So if it's really an airport related job, they don't mind to commute for a long time or for some distance. The airport is also an atypical labor market. For instance, you can see here that the majority of the employees is masculine, where in other Belgian regions, we see that the gender is evenly distributed. The next slide, you can notice that at Brussels Airport, there are also more full-time jobs than average in Belgium. We also determined that Brussels Airport is an engine with an upside potential, and that there are opportunities for job seekers, and especially for those from the Brussels capital region and the Walloon region, as there is a supply surplus. So we have to focus on those regions. What did we do with the information from the study? So first of all, we discussed the results with our stakeholders, and also we published the entire study, and this one is still available for consultation on our websites. We also targeted, you can go one back, please. Okay. We also targeted a new policy on new recruitments, so we could further develop. Aviato also confirmed their objective to become the knowledge center on work, training and mobility around the airports. And then last, we worked on the opportunity for the job seekers, and we offered training programs in consultation and collaboration with the companies and the stakeholders, so that some people especially from those regions where there is more unemployment can look for a job at the airport and be prepared. So thank you for the attention. I give the screen to Marta from El Prat.
Okay, thank you very much, Inge. Good morning, everyone. My name is Marta Mayordomo, and I'm Deputy Mayor for Economic Development at El Prat Town Council. As you know, is where the airport, Barcelona Airport, is located. And it's really a pleasure for me to present today the CEFET training program in this webinar. At El Prat, we have been participating in this program since 1990, along with many other municipalities. For the last 5 years, the job placement results of our CEFET program have been around 80%. This is higher than any other training program we develop. So the assessment of the students year after year is always very positive. So we can say with the results that we are very proud of the CEFET program in El Prat. In addition, I have to say that it's an easily replicable practice. So we hope you find it interesting. The Inform Foundation, of which El Prat Town Council is a member, is responsible for the coordinating and implementing the CEFET program in Catalonia. And for this reason, we have invited them to explain the program to us. Nothing more to add on my part for this moment. So I give the floor to Mrs. Blanca Padros, President of the Inform Foundation. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Marta, and thank you very much as well to the organizers for the invitation today. As Marta said, my name is Blanca Padros. I'm the second deputy mayor of the Santa Coloma de Gramenet City Council, which is a city, Santa Coloma de Gramenet, just for you to know where we are located. It is a city next to Barcelona. In fact, you can get here with the underground from the center of Barcelona. We are at the north of Barcelona, and in fact, in the past, we used to be a summer place where people from Barcelona used to come, and then it grew and grew, and now we are a big city of 120,000 inhabitants, full of bars, restaurants, shops, and universities with a lot of activities. And concerning employment and economic development, we have a local company, a municipal company called DREAAM Impulse, which includes as a very important part of its activity, training. And one of the methods we use for training activities is the CEFET system. So this system, which is based on company simulation, job simulation, or practice enterprises. And the next speaker will talk more in detail about how it works from the methodological point of view. I will just inform you about how we work from the institutional point of view. That is how we collaborate with other private and public entities. As Marta said, we have a foundation, so a non-profit organization, which is the Fundación Inform, of which I'm the current president, which you can see on the slide. We have, previous slide, please. Yes, thank you. So the Fundación Inform is a foundation. We have 18 members. Most of us are town hall governments, so local city councils. We manage 14 full practice enterprises, so simulated enterprises, so people learn things by doing them. We have our funds come from our own city councils and as well from the Catalan regional government. So this foundation is really useful as a platform to get funds and to network with one another and to share good practices. And we also have many collaboration agreements with different public and private organizations, which apply as well this system, this CEFET simulation system. Our brand, as said, is called CEFET, and this was started in Spain in 1987, so more than 30 years ago. And right now there are more than 300, so 320 practice enterprises in whole Spain. We also have a lot of international connections with public and private entities all over the world. So as to talk about the methodology, as I said before, I would pass the word to our next speaker, who is Marta Benages, who is the head of the international relations and communication of our Fundación Inform. Thank you.
Good morning. Yes, everybody, thanks for inviting us. If you can pass the next slide. Okay, thank you. Good. Let me introduce to our practice enterprise in El Prat de Llobregat, which is Cargo Prat. Cargo Prat is placed just next to the airport. And as Marta was explaining, it has been there for more than 25, 30 years, training unemployed people. Next slide. Thank you. What we call the practice enterprise, we call a company in a classroom, which is learning by doing. What we do is that we set up a simulated company in a classroom and we use it as the pedagogical tool to train the students. To train the students in technical skills so that they know what they have to do learning by doing the task. And we use also this practice enterprise, this simulated company to train social skills, which is also very important. In the case of El Prat, is aimed at unemployed people. But we have, as we were, having a look at the previous slide, we have around 320 practice enterprises in Spain. All of them are aimed at different target groups. So as you can see the picture. This is a practice enterprise. This is not a real company, but it is a practice enterprise with the students. They come to us to being trained and how a real company works. And we use the same resources, internet, telephones, computers. We have general computer software and the specific software so as to manage the human resources department and the marketing department, as the practice enterprise is divided into the usual structure. Here we have a usual structure: purchases, business, accounting, human resources. So all the students go through each department every time during the school year or during the time that the practice enterprise is open, and they learn how to do the tasks corresponding to each area. The important thing is that the fact of belonging to a practice enterprise from an unemployed people point of view, it means engaging people in the running ins and out on an everyday company. And this is a very useful tool so that they know that they are doing something practical, professional, and some real tasks to do. Can we change to the other one? Thank you. So in the case of Cargo Prat, which is the practice enterprise place in El Prat de Llobregat, they sell virtually, of course, but they sell transport and logistics services to the rest of the practice enterprises in Spain and also in the rest of the world. Our foundation belongs to a global practice enterprise network, which is called European Pen International, and all practice enterprises in the world have, business contacts. They buy and they sell their virtual products or services so that the students get to know what it is to sell and buy products or services to other virtual companies or simulated companies. Next, okay. So the practice enterprise and its methodology allows the students to make their knowledge global, to be part of learning process, to really learn how to do task in the office department, to belong to a community, which is also very important, especially for unemployed people. What they learn is always related to the working labor market. They improve the learning processes, as some of them perhaps they have lost the idea to learn in that sense. As we were saying, is a very active, professional, global methodology, and also a very important issue for our employers, our companies recruiting them when they have finished the practice enterprise. That's social skills, problem solving, work organization, teamwork, autonomy, initiative. This is something that they have to use every single day when they are in the practice enterprise. Next. Okay, just to finish the global data. These methodologies applied in more than 30 countries around the world. In our case, in Spain, we apply this methodology in several target groups, but now we were talking about unemployed people in El Prat. And for the last 2019, we had 397 unemployed people being trained in the practice enterprises in Catalonia only. If we talk about Spain, we are talking about 8,000 students, 9,000 students, depending on the year. And the thing is that the average is 60% of them are already working, as this is a methodology that allows us to have a very high employment rate. And this is it. Thank you for your time and attention and inviting us.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I will invite now Claudia to take the word with the next example of the best practice guide.
Okay, thank you, Alex, and welcome everybody. And thank you again for participating in this webinar and sharing our thoughts about the future of employment in airport areas. My name is Claudia Krakow, and I work for the Economic Development Agency of the District Spreewald, which is the region where the new Metropole Airport, BER, for Berlin and Brandenburg is located. We've been active in our area for about 30 years now and have accompanied and supported many changes in this time. So maybe next, Alex. Thank you. As you may remember from the introduction, our region differs a little from most other partners. A few years ago, we were facing similar problems: high unemployment, a mismatch of available workforce and required competencies, as well as not very attractive working conditions at the airport. We found similar solutions like our colleagues too. We did tailor-made training programs, matching events, a very close network with many of our companies, and a very dense monitoring of the development in our labor market. However, we have had a very dynamic economic development in the past years. So we are now at an average annual employment rate of 3.5%. So our workforce potential in the area is quite low, while we are facing, now for real, the opening of the BER airport in October this year. Before COVID started, the estimated number of vacancies resulting from this move from Berlin-Tegel to the BER airport, between 5,000 and 8,000 jobs. So now with flight operations reduced to about 10% of the normal air traffic, we have no information yet how these numbers will develop, though we do know that the move will be much easier for an airport operator from Tegel to BER, so that's a nice thing on the side. The new airport allows for up to 60 million passengers. We are now at 35 million, so alone this rise will be an annual increase of employment of about 1,000 people, and that's only aviation and non-aviation. It's the impact on all local industries will tighten the market even more. Additionally, a problem in our area is the employment density. In international comparison, it is low. If you look, for example, at the Zurich airport area, 900 of 1,000 inhabitants also work in the airport area. In our area, that's only 440 of 1,000 people. So we have a lot of people who are commuting for work outside of our airport area. So you see, training and matching, networking is important for us too, but we also had to develop new strategies to keep people in the airport area and attract workforce population influx. Next, please, Alex. As you can see, our activities are more like a dynamic puzzle, which makes it demanding, but also very easily adaptable, expandable, and flexible in our work. We are evolving our activities according to the developments of the labor market and constantly adding new projects or changing projects due to the needs of our companies. But summarized, the focus is on the attractivity of working and living in our region, the attractivity of the job offers and career options, so good working conditions, and which is very important, on the transparency of these chances to everybody. As we are the economic development agency for this district, we are ideally positioned to bring together companies and their future employees. If you would, Alex, please. To give you an example of what we do, I want to introduce to you one of our projects in early career guidance. It is quite aptly named. It's called Start to Fly. We set a strong focus on early career guidance because our goal is to keep our young people in the region and inspire them for a career entry in aerospace. In the Brandenburg school system, we have mandatory periods of work placements of 1 or 2 weeks in every grade in secondary school. So pupils can organize their own work placement, or they can participate in our workshops. Next, please. So we do a roadshow to all secondary schools in our district, and we present selected industries of the region to the pupils, which in this case would be aerospace. And after this roadshow, pupils can enroll for a 1-week workshop with us. We will then organize it, and because we think seeing is believing, we go right on site with the kids. During the workshop, we visit a lot of the very basic parts of aerospace industries, how an airport is working, some technical insights at Lufthansa Technik, for example. We let them test their own mechanical skills at our training workshop at Trinico and give them an idea of requested language, intercultural and social skills. The big advantage of this program is that pupils get hands-on experience. and they get insights in daily job routines. For example, we will usually have a meet present trainees so they can talk to them and exchange views on their careers. And following the workshop, we will help them to find work placements and initiate contacts and contracts to the industry. We've been doing this project Start to Fly for 13 years now, and around 3,000 young people have passed it. Due to data protection laws, we cannot ourselves keep contact to minors, but some of them have stayed in touch with us over the years, and so we know by now that a lot of the pupils who participated in the project work in aircraft mechanics, as stewardesses, in administration, and many other airport jobs. So we are quite happy with the project, which is why it's running so long. Just to remind you that it's only one of the puzzle pieces of what we do in our airport area. We have many more projects and they are designed to build up on each other. What is very important is a close collaboration with the companies. For example, our airport operator, Flughafen Berlin-Brandenburg GmbH, participates in almost all of our labor market projects. Such as you can see at the left top, we have a recruiting fair that we are doing for 10 years where they present jobs and career options to the public. They are participating in the Start to Fly program. They also open their doors in the long night of economy to any interested public. And they are also 2017's winner of our award, Best Employer in the District, where we monitor good working conditions. So that gives us the change for a sustainable cooperation, and it allows us to address all age groups of the workforce population and also to reach people repeatedly. So as a result, we create very high visibility for local enterprises. We have personal contacts and impressions and connectivity between companies and potential workers. Our dropout rates from apprenticeships have decreased, and the regional recruiting of many of our companies has improved. But as I said, we are constantly adjusting all these projects as the labor market evolves and presents new needs. So thank you for your attention. I'll be happy to answer any questions and answers later in the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claudia. I think we can now move to the next session, which is the COVID-19 discussion, and I will give the word to our moderator for this session, Karin.
The microphone was off, sorry. Thank you very much, Alexandra. Yes, so as mentioned in the agenda, based upon the news, it made sense to us to make a little focus on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on training and jobs in airport areas, since it impacts the economy of these territories. Next slide, please. For sure, the global COVID-19 pandemic is disrupting our economy, our society, our daily life, creating some kind of unprecedented shock in almost all the countries. The world of air transport is surely at this stage very badly hit. It's not a surprise for everybody, but let's have in mind, for instance, the closure of some airport terminals, of course, and therefore employment is impacted. Nevertheless, more than ever, we can consider the good practices which were provided in the framework of this project as a tool in terms of training and employment, so that they can be considered as relevant tools to recover from the crisis. So we were thinking about some ideas. For sure, the slides will be shared with you. So the important points are raised on this slide. But then we were thinking about global questions which can be discussed around roundtables, virtual roundtables among us. So the first question which rises into our mind was, what does COVID mean for employment in airport areas? While having this question, I'm just wondering and thinking especially about our colleagues from Beck, Maastricht. Do you want to take part in this?
Yes, I will. Thank you. Thank you very much, Karine. Perhaps you can give me the opportunity to give you some information about our city in this area. Is that okay?
Very good. Thank you very much, Frank.
Okay, thank you. Well, actually, similar to other countries, we have seen in the Netherlands a massive government intervention preventing a high increase of bankruptcy and unemployment. And mainly because the Netherlands has created a low governmental budget with a low debt deficit. And as a result of that, $1 billion of supportive packages could be released. But if you are looking to the numbers and the effects of it, then you will see that as we are looking at the first quarter of 2020, we had an employment rate of 3.4%. And in the second quarter, and even for the next year, we expect that as from this 3.4%, we will increase 14 to 70% increasement of unemployment, and mainly for people with temporary jobs and younger people. But then again, if we look at the situation of Beek, we see that mainly the air freight numbers increased, but air travel collapsed. Actually, as I believed, which is similar to other airfields as well. But then again, it does have not a very high effect on the employment rates. But for the future, we expect it to be. And therefore, we believe that the opportunities for the aviation areas as they are, we can at best contribute and adapt to people with less job skills and opportunities by the ways that we have been presenting to you in our best practices, and mainly by the methods of wage value measurements and inclusive jobs design. And would like to ask you to take good notice of the best practices, because we can, as in the Netherlands, we have been very successful with it, and it can be easily adopted in other areas as well. And in this way, we can highly support the early involvement for companies with their needs for employees and focusing on the matching between employees and jobs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Frank. Maybe I see that in the attendees, there is a representative from ADP in Orly. Can we let Mrs. Boulet to take part in this roundtable for this question?
Well, so I'm Pascal Boulet. I am the Deputy Delegate for Airport Community Relations and Economic Promotion of Paris Orly. What we have to know, Orly is 180 million passengers in 2019, and it supports 107,000, including 30,000 direct jobs generated by the platform. So the crisis has a very big impact, and we have to know that we know that for several weeks we have known that the first project, which will extend over several months and all year round, we will be that of fully understanding the impact of the crisis on the territories, quantifying and qualifying it. If we do not yet have a global vision or consolidated figures, we have already started to project in this area. The impact is very big because today we have to know that from June 26th, 25 routes will be open in Orly. At the beginning of July, we should have 130 flights a day instead of 150 usually. but this good news cannot make us forget the turmoil in which the airlines are plunged, with a crisis that will last 4 years. Air traffic could return to its 2019 level between 2023 and 2025. As a result, ADP will have to adapt its costs to the new situation. We will have to make many thousands of job adjustments, similar to those of the airlines. So, government decided to reduce the domestic offers by 30% by 2021. They said with the closure of destinations, when they have a railway alternative within 2 hours, and when the services does not provide the CDG hub. And this request of the Ministry of Economy is in order for environmental reasons. So it impacts all necessarily, and all the jobs around. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Pascal. So as time is flying by, let's move on to question 2. So question 2 for the roundtable is how to have a prospective vision and adapt your practices. Having this question in mind, I would be happy to have Frankfurt's point of view. So maybe Annika, are you ready to provide some elements to this question?
Yes, I'm ready. Hello to everybody from Frankfurt. My name is Annika Funke and I'm working for the regional authority here in Frankfurt. And yes, of course, if you can imagine, as you can imagine, this question is not really easy to answer under the current circumstances. So as at all other airports, the flight operations here in Frankfurt have at times come close to a standstill. So even now with the easing of travel and the start of the holiday season, we still have not nearly as much flights as usual at this time of the year. So we have, I think, 89% fewer passengers at the moment, and even the cargo is 20% less than in the year before. So for us, what we expect is a massive reduction in jobs at and around our airport. And for example, our airport operator Fraport will cut 3,000 to 4,000 jobs in the next years. And as you will know, Lufthansa is also in a deep crisis, and up to 26,000 jobs are in danger. So we don't know yet how many of those jobs will be cut in our region, but we know that this puts us in a completely new situation and also requires new approaches. Because in the recent years, due to demographic change and the very low unemployment rate we have here in Frankfurt Rhein-Main, we had more and more problems to find skilled workers for our jobs. So it's a very similar situation to what Claudia was talking about in Berlin. And so we focused our strategies in the last years on the recruitment of skilled workers with a focus on international professionals. And yeah, now we cannot foresee if we will be able to to focus on those strategies in the future. Too much is still unclear at the moment. Yeah, and apart from COVID-19, there are some other developments that will have a major impact on us. Digitalization, for example. So we think that especially with COVID-19, the progress of digitalization will be even faster now. and change the jobs and the qualifications needed in a very fast time. So in addition to that, hygiene, health, security, those are topics which will play a totally different role or a much more important role in the coming years than we expected a few months ago. So yeah, in other areas of the labor market, we will need more stuff than we expected, while in other areas of the labor market, yeah, we will have a gap because yeah, a lot of jobs are in danger. So on the one hand, at the moment, we are forced to wait how everything will develop because nobody really knows. And on the other hand, of course, we should and we have to think about possible strategies already now. So yeah, for us, it's not not longer just a question of promotion jobs and the attractiveness of jobs. It's getting more and more complex. So yeah, in this context for us, the DREAAM project and the exchange on the different best practices of European airport regions is a great benefit for our region. And we're sure that we will use those new partnerships we created because the approaches can certainly give us ideas on how to work in the future and how to handle those new challenges, especially in the area of qualification. So we are sure that we will keep up this long-term partnership.
Thank you very much, Annika. As mentioned, time is very limited, so we have to move forward. Question 3, which is the slide you have now. Given the COVID-19 crisis, let's say pandemic, how the jobs in airport areas and the corresponding trainings will evolve. Having this question in mind, maybe Barcelona is willing to take part in it. And after all, I think that Marc, on behalf of Paris CDG, will have a few words to mention.
Yeah, thank you, Karine. It's very difficult. I told you before, it's very difficult to answer to this question. It's really, really difficult. Today, we still don't know when the sanitary crisis is going to end and when the activity of all the airports can be normalized until reaching the previous levels of work. And the reality is that if the airline sector loses one job, 24 disappear through the value chain. So the situation, it's not easy to think about it. What is clear is that we have learned a lot during this period, and certain practices of adaptation are here to stay. I'm talking about teleworking, video conferencing, online training. All these also affects to airport work and all the related jobs, as well as the training necessary to access them. For me, it's still too early to predict evolution, but it will be necessary not to forget everything that we have learned at these last months. And of course, be ready to adapt whenever it's needed and to the necessary measures of social distance in all cases. For example, the good practice that we presented today in CEFET program, at the moment, when the state of alarm was declared in Spain, we had to adapt immediately to be able to continue training the students / workers in a remote way. In this case, it would be a mix of online training and teleworking. I have to say this was not easy at the first moment because some of the students didn't have all the technical resources necessary to be able to follow the course remotely, but we were finally able to resume training and move on. As I said, more than ever, we need to be resilient and be prepared for any uncertain future.
Thank you very much, Marta. Marc, any few words to add to this answer from Spain?
Yes, so that's a very good question, and not very easy to answer. We are working on in Paris CDG airport. We are working on the effect of this crisis on the different skills needed by the companies, especially linked to the sanitary context, but also we saw that this crisis will accelerate the evolution of the jobs and the skills already that we already prepared. I think on the if you think about the customer relationship in airport areas, we have more and more screen automatization and different aspects of the customer relationship. I think this crisis will accelerate that, and we are working with our training organizations and local organization on this issue, and think, okay, how we find new way of working with the customer, working with the passengers to help them in a more dynamic way, with more computer, with more screen and everything, and we have to adapt all our training program, all our organization, and also all our staff to this new challenge. And we had another question from an attendee working on so thinking about how it will how the jobs will evolve according to the Green Deal of the European Union, but also all the evolution needed by the environmental issues. I think this crisis can accelerate that. So we have two answers on that. So the evolution of the airline companies, and how many they can invest in the new technologies to reduce their emission, but also on the airport point of view, and how the airport will adapt the solution into in a more sustainable way. In France, we have more and more discussion about how we create a multimodal hub. We have a train, yes, a fast train station in the airport, so in Paris CDG airport, and how we have more and more connection between the train for the local transport and the plane for the international connections. So I think we are working more and more on this issue, and we have to work more and more, and to have very fast connection, very easy connection, and we include. So it wasn't the case of 10 or 15 years ago, but we include more and more in the new jobs and new jobs opportunities, green, so what we can call green jobs, including how we work in a more sustainable way in the airport and airlines industry.
Thank you very much, Mark. Of course, all the questions and answers, if we do not have enough time, we will afterwards provide answers to the questions you submitted. Now that's just the fifth part of this webinar about question and answers, moderated by Alexandra from IRC.
Thank you very much, Corinne. So I have noticed already some questions that were submitted, and our speakers already answered you. So I see right now two open questions, one from Peter. So he's saying COVID-related problems are predominant now, but in the longer run, climate change issues might have an even more important effect. Any thoughts to tackle this with the present partnership? So do we have any thoughts related to the COVID-19 problems and the climate change issues? I would invite any of the speakers to give their opinion on this. Okay. For instance, Annika, would you like to address this question? Sorry.
Sorry, I had to put my microphone on. So I think, yeah, to this, unfortunately, I'm not really able to answer these questions because it's not the part we are working on, and our partner from the airport area, they are not here, so I don't want to say something for them. So maybe somebody else could.
Of course. Then unless we have other opinions from the other speakers, we are happy to take note of this question and to address it in our follow-up emails of this webinar. In the meantime, I would invite you to tell us any other suggestions, comments related to the project, any other questions you have for the consortium. Please feel free. You can also use the raise your hand function, which is at the bottom of your screen. And for your information, we will be sending the presentation of this webinar to all of the participants. We also have a surprise for you where we have made the video, which we will be sharing with the participants. And as soon as the best practice guide is available, you will of course have it as well. In general, if right now there are no other questions, any other remarks from the consortium? Yes, Mark?
Yes, sorry. Thank you. So I won't be long. I think we already have a delay for this presentation. To conclude, let me just thank you all to participate in this webinar. I wanted to say a special thank to the different partners involved, the different different panelists which were involved in these wonderful partnerships that we're creating with very diverse organization partners. We had different point of view, but we all decided to share our best practices and in a very transparent way, the results we had, the difficulties we had, and I think it was very, very interesting, and I hope that all the attendees will find a very good solution to disseminate in the guide we are finishing. I saw that some partners who were at the beginning of the project were still connecting, so a special thanks to them too, especially for Léa Baudessian. I saw her, and she created this project at the beginning, and it's her fault for the name of the project. And special thanks to Simon. I saw him too, who moved from Aviator, but we work with him too. And a thanks to the French National Erasmus Plus Agency to support this project. As you already mentioned and questioned, we are facing a new crisis, but we are all working on it. I think we have to be aware that our airport area are very, very resilient. We can face the challenge with new opportunities for all our areas, especially in a sustainable way, and with more and more including the communities around. So
thank you very much, Mark. So just to let you know that our lead partner put in place an email address so if you need more information, if you have further questions, please take note of the email address including in this slide, and Mark and the team will be happy to answer. Okay, so I think this was it for today. We officially say goodbye to DREAM project, but not to the results, which we hope that they will go beyond our project. We thank you very much to our speakers today, to all the input and the great work we've been putting in this project. And let's stay in touch, I say.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to all the DREAM team.
Yeah.
See you later.
Thank you very much to everybody.
Thank you.
Especially to the
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.